Hello, welcome once again. This video is just a brief mention about what's going on with the precious metals market with silver specifically today. I'm looking at now, in case you guys don't know where to go to find the best information on the precious metals market, my suggestion is to go to kitco.com. That's KITCO.com, Kitco. There's an app if you have most Androids, iPhones, iPads. There's an app available for them. It's a Kitco app. Just type in Kitco, you'll find it. But what I'm going to talk about is the close of the market today. And today being June the 2nd, 2015. What I'm looking at, which I kind of suspected that silver was going to stay pretty low for a while. I had kind of believed that it might go up a little bit, at least back to around 17 and a half, and kind of rally at that for a while. But what I'm actually seeing is that there was a low today in the silver market trading at 1652, and the high was at 1690, so it didn't even break $17 today. It actually closed with a change of 21%, so it actually lost about, or 0.21%, so it lost about 4 cents per ounce today. And now, that of course is based upon the 31.1 gram troy ounce. All precious metals are traded in troy ounce. For you Americans that don't know how the rest of the world operates, we're essentially the only ones that do that. I'm looking at gold too. Gold had a high of 1196.80 and a low of 1185.30. So that's kind of an extreme range right there. But I'm not really too surprised with it, and it didn't really close at that extreme of a change. Now you see the market have a high, and a low. What's happening is there are individuals that, this is when they buy at the low one, and then they'll sell at the end of the day, or towards the end of the day, or the peak of the market, whatever they feel, and they'll sell it at the high. Now, that doesn't sound like it's going to be much if you're only doing a few ounces. That's not much at all. But if you have, say a couple $1 million worth of assets that you can shift around and move around, you can make a couple $1,000s in a day on 2 trades, buying in at the low and selling in at the high. And this is usually what they do, and this is the short that they go for. What I would suggest with the silver market right now is that you buy and you hold. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. You want to buy the physical silver, okay? You want to stay away from the paper markets. 90% of the paper market is not going to perform. You're going to end up being left with nothing but essentially just the paper in your hand. So take into consideration what's going on with that, and then also look into some of the bigger players in the market, see what they're doing. Now, I've looked at First Majestic and Neumayer, the chief over there at First Majestic, has made some announcements that are pretty interesting, and he's actually forming a new company that is going to be purchasing the mining assets. So he's going to be purchasing silver mining assets. Now, if you're looking at across the board, the silver mining companies have lost and accumulated around $1.something billion, like $1.5 billion in the year, because we know that what spot price is right now at about $16.50, right around there. That's about what it costs to pull it out of the ground at the lowest of overheads that I've seen in the market. But generally, we're at around $21 an ounce. And remember, like I said in previous videos, silver isn't generally mined for the silver. It's kind of a byproduct of mining the other minerals and the other precious metal assets. But I don't find it interesting at all or surprising that Neumayer is making this move in the market, Because if you look at what China's been doing, essentially the same thing. China has been going and purchasing not just gold from other places and hoarding it, but they've been going around and they've actually been purchasing the mining assets. So they've been purchasing the companies that will continue to produce these precious metals, not just purchasing the precious metals themselves and then hoarding it. They're also the #1 producer of gold right now, and they're not selling any of it to anybody, anywhere. So, they're looking at a major move here. They're looking at something serious going on, preparing for something. My best guess is that the U.S. is kind of sort of allowing them to go ahead and make all of these purchases without making their move towards doing something similar, or at least stockpiling the gold or the silver. Why this is, I don't want to get into the politics of it, but it's important to take note of these things and to recognize these geopolitical atmospheres, and the moves that these larger companies, larger corporations, and larger governments are making in the precious metals market. So, this is a good time to be buying as much silver as you possibly can, and to holding on to that silver, physical silver. You can go to a number of websites and purchase yourself silver at near spot. So I'll let you do your own research on that. There's a couple companies that I would definitely stay away from. In fact, I'll tell you one incident. I won't mention the name of the company, but one incident I had where I bought a 10-ounce bar of silver, and splitting it open after hearing reports of people selling, people getting ripped off. I split it open, and sure enough, there was tungsten bars inside the silver. So, be very careful about when you're making larger purchases, because that's the best way for you to get ripped off. My suggestion always is to purchase the silver rounds. You want to go for the generic silver rounds, the 1 ounce, silver rounds. And American Eagles are really good. They're recognizable. Everybody knows what that is and who that is. But there's plenty of other companies that make their own generic silver rounds. But get as many of those as you can, and they're also easier to trade in, because if you only need to make an exchange of 1 or 2 or 3 ounces, but all you have is these big 10-ounce bars, you're gonna have to cut that off. You're gonna have to measure it. I mean, just thinking future-wise, it would probably be the best idea to make the purchases of your silver in the 1 ounce silver rounds, or 2 ounce or 5 ounce. I wouldn't probably get anything more than a 5 ounce, 5 ounce silver stacker bar, maybe a 10 ounce bar if I really trust the company. I will say my favorite place to purchase my silver stack is from Scottsdale Silver. Very reliable company. I've been going through them for years. I've made, significant purchases from them, and I've never had a problem, never had an issue. Delivery time usually within about a week. So, check them out. And they're very close to spot. The more you get, the better deal that you get too. And they have kind of a good variety too of what you can get from them. Closing this video out real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and list the prices that I see right here that was in the market now. Gold is at $1192.80. All right, had a high of $1196.80 and a low of $1185.30. Silver right now is at $1681. It had a high of $1690 and a low of $1652. Platinum actually went up about $3, difference today. So the high was at $1120, the low was at $1100, but it closed at $1118. All right, now copper's interesting. Copper is also would be another good one if you were to be getting into the mining, the assets companies that are mining for these things. Copper and silver are the two companies that I would invest my money in, besides just purchasing the silver itself. I would also be interested in putting a little money into, dividing it into, the asset controllers. And copper and silver are two of your best options right now. If you look at how much it costs to create 1 penny, it's not worth that penny, because the copper value is worth more than the currency that penny represents. So copper had a high of 275 and a low of 273. Right now it's trading at 275. So copper's not going to be volatile. It's not going to move as much, but I don't see it going down, dropping in value. I only see it leveling out, rallying, and then going up, according to the market. And a lot of people believe that silver kind of runs the coattail of gold, but you could say historically that may be so, but right now, currently, that's not really the climate. That's not really what's going on. Silver's doing its own thing, and it's doing its own thing based upon these false beliefs of the market. So I just wanted to share that with the silver today. This is a really good news for us buyers, us stackers. This is good news because we know where it's going, and we see the potentials and the opportunities for us to appropriate ourselves and position ourselves, so that way when there is this big global shift and this big change of wealth, that you'll be able to be protected, and you'll be able to have your assets in intrinsic value, not in a fiat currency that's driven upon that's based on a debt-driven system. So keep this in mind, folks. Keep getting your silver. Keep buying it. Don't spend money on the premiums. That doesn't really matter. Don't spend a whole bunch of extra. If you're buying a silver round right now, for more than $20 an ounce, you're throwing your money away. There may be some numismatistic value in it later on, but I don't count on that, and I don't care really about the numismatistic value. I'm concerned about the precious metal value. That's the intrinsic value. That's what's going to stick around and what's going to stay. If you had a baseball card in the 80s, the value of that was based upon what people were willing to pay for it. If you have that same exact baseball card now, did the value go up or did it go down? Well, chances are, because the market for these types of things, the value's just not there. People aren't willing to pay money for that. However, those same people that were collecting baseball cards back then, in the 70s and 80s, chances are you're probably right around my age, or maybe I'm aging myself a little bit too much, but chances are you're right around my age, or maybe a little younger, and you probably remember having trading in those baseball cards. But if you would have put your money into silver back then, I guarantee you right now you would have probably have been buying silver in at about $1, $2 an ounce at the most, probably at the peak of the market, 90 cents an ounce. I remember silver being pretty low, and then you look at it right now, holding it on for that long. Some people can't hold on to it, but if you can, this is the best thing for you and your family. So make sure you go out and you spend what you can to get your silver and stack it, hide it away, stack it. I don't really trust banks, and I don't trust their vaults, but I definitely trust my bank, the bank of me, and my vault. So continue getting your silver, folks, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Do your research, dig out thine own salvation with fear and trembling of the Lord. All right.